This is On the Dock with Mark Wigmore.
Time magazine named The Protester as 2011's Person of the Year. It isn't that surprising considering all the issues facing the planet these days. Environmentalism, workers' rights, and yes, of course, the good old economy and the Occupy movement. The documentary If a Tree Falls, The Story of the Earth Liberation Front pulls you away from the objective armchair debate about protest movements and throws you into the sobering reality of frontline eco-activism. The film tells the story of a group of protesters who go a lot further than holding hands, writing letters, and singing Kumbaya. They do whatever it takes, legal or illegal, to protect the land that they deem sacred.
It's easy to discount the environmental movement as a bunch of wackos and hippies and arsonists. But it's not like that.
The industry tends to call the environmentalists radical. The reality is that 95% of the standing native forests in the United States have been cut down. It's not radical to try and save the last 5%. What's radical is logging 95%. This is radical.
That's Bill Barton, a forestry worker, a member of the Native Forest Council, and a voice of reason in this film. He's one of the many characters you meet as you follow the story of the Earth Liberation Front, otherwise known as the ELF. The journey begins in Oregon State, where thousands of people have been protesting peacefully against logging. But the Earth Liberation Front has other ideas. They target logging companies and cause millions of dollars in property damage, operating as a network of secret cells, kind of like some terrorist organizations. They were a priority for the FBI during the past decade. Their actions also made them an effective force and got them plenty of media coverage.
You may have heard of the Earth Liberation Front. The Attorney General himself says it's a domestic terrorist organization. The FBI says it is one of the most dangerous groups in the country.
Well, those are the nuts and bolts, but every great documentary needs some heart. And at the heart of this doc is the sobering story of Daniel McGowan and what happened to him after he's identified and arrested as an ELF member. Thanks to a major undercover operation that pitted members of the group against each other, the Brooklyn native was detained in 2005, long after his alleged crimes were committed. The doc follows his family as they cope with the charges that McGowan faces and the impossible decision he must make. Does he take a plea bargain that will label him a terrorist forever, or maintain some sort of innocence and face several life sentences of jail time?
I don't know. He's got some serious decisions to make, and they suck. No matter what you choose, they suck.
Well, that's Daniel's straight-talking sister and his greatest supporter. Not a radical herself by any means, she selflessly raises over $1 million for his bail, gives him a home to live in while he's under house arrest, and supports him all the way as he navigates through the legal labyrinth that is federal terrorism charges. As Dan McGowan walks by Ground Zero in New York City, he wrestles with the fact that he now shares the same legal designation as the 9/11 terrorists. But he didn't kill 3,000 people. He burned down empty forestry buildings.
It's really sad for me to have all these films about my home being attacked. I mean, when I tell people that I'm accused of being a terrorist, it's ludicrous to me. It's surreal. And most people that know me are like, what? No one's accused in my case of flying planes, bombing things, trying to hurt people. None of these things. No one's accused of that. It's property destruction. That's what it is. Call it what it is, you know?
This is the second time director Marshall Curry's been nominated in the Best Documentary category at the Oscars, and it's well-deserved. He's done a fantastic job humanizing the experience of being arrested for these types of crimes. Careful not to get too preachy with his narrative, he has filmed a selection of ELF members, sympathizers, government investigators, and local police to tell the story of environmental activism on the American West Coast. The story in If a Tree Falls reminds us that taking a serious stance on political policy and industrial standards is a high-stakes game. What may start as youthful idealism can quickly turn into tragedy. Is Daniel McGowan a terrorist, or even an eco-terrorist? It's a tough question for the accused, the accusers, and it will be a great debate in your home as well. I'm Mark Wigmore, on the dock.